everyone, good afternoon. I'm Sarita, the project manager for this team. So for today I conducted this discussion to focus more on our issue and to generate more, brainstorm more ideas on how are we going to create our video awareness video content. Okay, so before starting off anything, I would just want to recall on what are your roles. So me as the project manager and Nadia as the secretary and content writer, and also Linda as the personal relation officer and also research manager. Okay, and Ziwi is the creative director and also language editor, and next is Farah, the video editor. Right? Okay, clear? Okay, so our issue for the project that we are conducting is that fast fashion kills the environment. Okay, so the research manager, Linda, what have you got from your research?
Okay, so one of the H&M values is cost conscious, where it's about keeping an eye on expenses and making smart, sustainable choices even in the small everyday things. They also claim they use the resources responsibly. However, H&M is one of the most recognizable fast fashion brands. Based on an article by Bali Cotton, the fashion industry is the second largest polluter in the world, coming second to the oil sector. The problem isn't what is available to buy, it is the throwaway culture of continuously buying new garments. In fact, 2/3 of us own more clothes than we need. Half of us have new clothes that we have never worn. Half of us buy more clothes than we can afford. It has become a challenge to wear a garment more than 5 times. Why? This is because garment quality is declining every year. As a result, our clothes immediately look faded, shapeless, and worn out. Other than that, trends are changing so quickly that we cannot keep up. We continue to purchase just to stay up to date. So, what is the cause? Fast fashion. Fast fashion is the mass production of cheap clothes. It allows stores to continuously sell a high volume of clothes for cheap prices. In other words, clothes are made for immediate consumption rather than a long-term wear.
See, so where did you get this information from?
I get from an article by Bali Cotton on the internet.
Okay, so about the issue, right? I also did some research about it. So what am I going to focus on is that actually fast fashion is also contributing to the water pollution and also water consumption. You guys know, right? To create a single garment itself, they are going to use a lot and lots of water. So there are also statistics stating that 20% of industrial water pollution is actually coming from the textile factories. This information I got it from the website in internet also. So for the water pollution part, right, what I got to know is that the untreated and toxic wastage from the textile factories are mostly not treated, and also they just dump it directly to the rivers. So what will happen if these toxic chemicals go into the river? This river water is going to be contaminated, and this water is actually flowing to the sea, to the ocean, where the aquatic lives are there. So it actually it's a very big impact. The aquatic life will have so many effects just because of this irresponsible activity that they are doing, which actually comes from the textile factories. So there is also a major water contamination, which is the fertilizer for cotton production. Why cotton is produced in a large amount? Because to sell the cotton clothes, right? So what happened here is that to produce more cotton in a year, so that they can produce to equalize the demand in the industry, they use too much of fertilizers. The fertilizers is actually not that good, right? Because the fertilizer, when it dissolves in the water, it's actually going to the river and sea again. So it heavily pollutes the water, and also the evaporation of water is also, it is not good. So another statistical data that I got is that 200 tons of dyes are lost every year during these textile productions and all. And also and also the for the water consumption part, right? To grow 1 kg of cotton, they are actually taking 20 kiloliters of water. So that is what I see about the water pollution and water consumption. So, any of you, what is your idea about it, or what did you get from the research that you guys did?
I did some research and I found out that the production of clothes actually increases the emission of greenhouse due to its energy use. Synthetic fibers such as nylon and polystyrene, which is majority used in clothes now, are made of fossil fuel. This production makes much more energy intensive than the natural fibers. There's a research done by James Conca, which he said that cheap synthetic fibers also emit gases like nitrogen oxide, which is 300 times more than the carbon dioxide. Which this research shows that it actually damage the ozone layer faster. So this shows that the production of clothes actually cause the climate change. So anyone want to add anything?
I also found some information about saying this fast fashion is killing the environment. The first one will be the microfibers in our oceans. Every time we wash synthetic garment, about 1,900 individual microfibers are released into the water, making scientists have discovered that small aquatic organisms ingest those microfibers. So in fact, this is introducing plastic in our food chain. Then my second point is waste accumulation. Nowadays, clothing has become disposable. As a result, we generate more and more textile waste. For your information, our family in the Western world throws away an average of 30 kg of clothing each year. Only 15% of the clothes is recycled or donated, and the rest goes directly to the landfill or is incinerated. We also know that the synthetic fibers such as polyester are plastic fibers that therefore non-biodegradable and can take up to 200 years to decompose. Synthetic fibers are used in 72% of our clothing.
Okay, interesting facts. Okay, hi everyone. So, to start with the issue that you guys have been discussing about, I found these two topics on an article called Sustain Your Style. So, on this webpage, the Sustain Your Style webpage, this is a page where this is a platform for independent people who like fashion and at the same time they are concerned about the practices from the fashion industry. So, in this webpage, they have stated two environmental issues that relates to the fashion industry. So, the first one that I found is about the soil degradation and how it relates to the fashion industry. I think everyone, we have all been used that soil is a very fundamental element for our ecosystem. We need soil, especially for absorption of carbon dioxide and also to produce food. But the major threat that the fashion industry is currently doing now, they keep on producing manufactured fabrics and they use soil to produce them. Okay, before I go further, just want to ask, do you guys know what rayon is? Rayon, no. Okay, rayon is actually a manufactured fibers where it is made from natural sources such as woods and also agricultural products. But there are many types of rayon. It can imitate the actual the natural kind of fabrics such as silk and wool. So this is where rayon comes from. We require a lot of trees just to produce a quite amount of rayon to produce this kind of fabrics. So in this web page, they say that degradation of soil can happen in many ways. So firstly, I can say that degradation of soil it can degrade the soil due to massive use of chemicals to grow cotton. And also interesting facts that I received from this article, it says that degraded soil will lead to a decrease of 30% in fruit production over the next 20 to 50 years if nothing changes. And then the next thing is that overgrazing of pastures through cashmere goats and also sheep risks for the cotton wool. It also affects the soil that human needs nowadays. So another data that I received from this article is that in Mongolia, 90% of Mongolia's surface is facing threat of desertification, principally due to the growth of cashmere goods that are made for that kind of fabrics. Okay, the second topic that I found, and it complements to the issue that we are discussing now, is that about rainforest destruction. Okay, we have all known that every year thousands of hectares of rainforest are being cut down. Usually relates to the economic industry. But then, since fast fashion is growing, they require thousands of hectares of land just for the factory, for the production of fibers, as what I've mentioned just now. So this loss of forest is strengthening the ecosystem and indigenous in communities as in Indonesia, where large-scale deforestation of the rainforest has taken place over the past decade. And the final facts that I received from this webpage is that 70 million trees are cut down each year to make just our clothes. And another one is that 5% of the global apparel industry uses forest-based fabrics. So from these two topics that I found on this article, I think it shows that how fast fashion really kills environment currently. Okay, that's it.
So actually, what can I get from this discussion is that producing clothes and garments and all these textile factories, textile industries, if it's just fashion, then it's not a problem. When it comes to fast fashion, the effects is going to be greater and greater and greater. That is why I feel that our issue, fast fashion kills the environment, is actually kind of true. Okay, so in this case, what I feel is that if you guys know our company H&M, so their vision and mission, it is more to sustainability of environment, right? So it is like they support these not biodegradable. They produce clothes which is actually environmental friendly, which means that if it's a normal cloth, then it's going to be 100% cotton and all. So they are using so much of cotton, right? So this cloth is not like that. They are using a different kind of method to produce it, which is actually environmental friendly. That is the thought that I have about this issue. So what do you guys have any thoughts that you guys want to share?
In my opinion, I guess nowadays people tends to follow the new fashion. Actually, short search as H&M actually they said that they are maintaining sustainability, which actually they are not.
Why do you feel so? Why they are not?
Because they are saying that they did a campaign, right?
Yeah.
On the when we have clothes that we don't want, we can exchange and they will give the coupons, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So how is it affecting it actually?
Yeah, because they are actually they want to sustain, to maintain sustainability, but don't you think that by giving the coupons, you are actually encouraging them to buy more clothes?
Oh, I see. So that is a way that they are actually encouraging them.
Yeah, but they say they will
They
sell.
claim themselves as sustainability
yeah,
related
sustainability.
stuff, but then they are doing this. So it's something contradicting.
And then these consumer actually they didn't realize that they are supporting, they are not supporting sustainability. And then H&M also they buy and they sell clothes which are cheap, but actually it is not long lasting also.
Oh, I see. So I got it.
So they are actually encouraging the consumer to buy more clothes. That is what I think.
So anyway,
Are you going to add for me?
First.
Okay, so as for myself, I think consumer plays a very vital role, especially in buying branding cloth. We all know that economically, when there is no demand, there will be no supplies from the fashion brand and from the fashion industry. So I think to slow down fast fashion, consumers ourselves need to slow down from buying too many clothes in a short period of time. Although companies have been producing a lot of clothes in a very short period of time, like such as H&M, where I read this article online, they will keep on changing their fashion style 2 weeks every 2 weeks. So I think instead of keep on buying what they are been selling, why don't we just buy one cloth that will last long for like 5 to 10 years? In the meantime, we can also change our style by doing that, meaning that we can only buy one cloth and we can keep on using that with with different styles. I think that's creative just by changing style with only one cloth that we have.
yeah, actually that's really good.
Yeah, anything else you want to add?
Fast fashion makes shopping for clothes more affordable, but it comes at an environmental cost. In most of countries in which garments are produced, untreated toxic wastewaters from textile factories are dumped directly into the rivers. Wastewaters contains toxic substances such as lead, mercury, and arsenic among others. These are extremely harmful for the aquatic life and the health of the millions of people living by those riverbanks. The contamination also reaches the sea and eventually spreads around the globe. Another major source of water contamination is the use of fertilizers for cotton production, which heavily pollutes runoff waters and evaporation waters. So I believe that fast fashion is really not good for the environment because it causes the water pollution. So how about you?
In my opinion, the wastage of water is an issue that we should more concern. As the fashion industry is a major water consumer, so because this industry is big, so more quantity of the fresh water are used for the dyeing and finishing process for our clothes. From this, we know that besides water pollution, the production of the fibers with high water consumption will cause a lot of water wastage, and another effect is making a lot of people in the world do not have access to drinking water.
Yeah, I actually support this point that in India, there are many people there who don't have access to water. But then, if you see the amount of water used to create so many clothes and garments, right, it's a lot. If they reduce this, maybe they can use this water for those people in India in this certain area. I'm not really sure where it is, but then I read it in one of these news. So I also have a same opinion with that. So since this long that we already discussed about what is the research that we did, what information that we get, so can we brainstorm on the solution that we can make to reduce these effects and all? So is there anyone who want to share their ways to reduce this problem?
And I will share my opinion first. I suggest that we should start looking for trendy things that you know are going to be out of trends in next few months, like typically what you find at the fast fashion stores. We should look for stylish things for basics that fits your personality, not just today but even in 10 years to come. If we can do this, I believe that the habit of fast fashion can be reduced. How about your idea, Savita?
Okay, so for me, right, I feel that now we are going to a mall to buy a clothes, right? Rather than going to every section of that part in that one mall, we can just straight away go to the place that we usually buy. So for an example, like I'm going to buy an H&M, okay? So I'm going, okay, I already have in my mind, okay, I want to buy a t-shirt, S size t-shirt. So I can just go straight to the section and just take it, rather than going to the formal section, just going looking there, and then I'm going to the jeans part, then I'm going there looking there. It will actually change my mind to buy so many clothes, right? It's really obvious that we always do that. So by reducing that, we can actually reduce our money to buy clothes, and also that we can reduce our government usage. We can actually somehow reduce the effects on the environment. And also, yeah, that is what I feel. So, anyone of you?
Okay, so as we all know, virgin polyester is an energy-hungry and a non-sustainable synthetic fiber. However, there is a green, sustainable alternative to virgin polyester, which is recycled polyester, often called RPET. Okay, unlike polyester, RPET is made from recycled materials such as plastic water bottles. The energy needed to make the RPET is less than what is needed to make the virgin polyester. Also, recycling PET to create the fabrics prevents plastics from going to the landfill. And lastly, 54% fewer carbon dioxide emissions generated during PET production compared to virgin polyester.
So how to actually know that okay, this cloth is actually
maybe you can see at the tag of the clothes that we mentioned the question.
So anyone else want to add?
There's a research I read. There's one way which is carbon dioxide cleaning. It is an effective way. This method combines carbon dioxide and the cleaning agent, and then the detergent will enhance the cleaning ability of the liquid carbon dioxide, allowing it to remove the dirt. After the cleaning cycle, the machine pulls away the liquid carbon dioxide and cleaning agent. But this method, I think, is not really suitable in Malaysia because it's quite pricey. I mean, the cleaning agent that combines with carbon dioxide is quite pricey and people wouldn't afford it. Yeah.
So, Farah, do you want to say anything?
Well, I don't have an answer for now, but from what I've mentioned just now, I was mentioning about rayon, right? That is one of the examples of the manufactured fibers. So instead of rayon, we do have modal or viscose also. So those three which are rayon, viscose, and also modal, those three could be categorized as manufactured fibers. So instead of choosing those fibers that are manufactured from the natural resources, why don't we just go for the natural, for the fabrics that are made from natural sources such as wood, silk, or the one that Linda has already mentioned. Why don't we just go for polyester? I know that some people might choose the manufactured fabrics because they think it's more comfortable to wear those. But I think we are focusing on saving environmental now. So I would still suggest them to go for the fabrics that are made naturally. Yeah, that's it.
So since now we already have our thoughts and solutions on how to reduce the effects, so this is what we are going to use for the video awareness that we are going to make, right? So okay, focusing on the awareness video. Okay, what I feel that is we can start the video by interviewing people to know what are the thought that is in their mind, like whether they know what is masturbation and something like maybe we can have few questions. So they will be answering and then we will record it and then we will put it in the video at the first part. So from there we can see that they are the public's understanding about this. Because for our video, our focus is going to be on the audience, and what we want to get from this video is that we want the audience to actually understand and to know what is happening in this world, what is actually affecting the environment. Because some of them they might not know about fast fashion and shoes. So like they won't even have idea on how they are actually contributing to this fast fashion that will actually clean the environment. So by interviewing them, maybe then we can have we can come to a conclusion, or like we can analyze on how actually they are. Okay, so maybe after that we can proceed with what you guys think that we can proceed after the interviewing part.
Actually, I think after the interview part, we can research some numbers and data. Like for instance, we put like a word, fast fashion is the second largest product in the world. So if we bring awareness to the people watching it up, and then we also can put some data like for instance, 20% of industrial water pollution comes from textile treatment and dyeing. Then I will search more on the facts that we can put in the video.
Okay, so for that part, since we are putting some statistical data, so at that part of the video, okay, now we are putting on statistics like 90% of the industrial waste is coming from textiles. So the below part it's expected to mention from where you got the so it will be like, okay, we are not, it will be convincing, like, they will be like, oh, really? Something like that.
I think that we should improve the effect of the fast fashion in our video, because we want the audience to know this effect of fast fashion. And for video creation, maybe later we should decide that what effect that we should focus more.
Okay, yeah. Because we have quite a lot of effects, so maybe later on we can actually decide on that. So, but how is that part going to be included in the video? Like, are you going to record yourself and talk that, or you're going to put it in words or like wording?
Maybe.
Like, do you have any idea on that?
Maybe we should put words up so they can read them.
So meaning that you will forward with someone narrate the whole situation of the video, right? Not the whole video, the situation of your part, right? Then we can also include some pictures and also make an animation video to make it more interesting this part.
Yeah. So what else do you need to include?
I think solution. The solution, because we have many solutions, so I think we'll choose the best and
Which is more
which is not too pricey and reasonable. And then we choose one, and then we'll use an application to maybe do an animation video.
Yeah, you can also move that way. But then the solution we will decide on later on.
Yeah, we choose the best we
The
have.
best one, because we need to actually find out on which one will be the most effective one,
Yeah.
which is can be practiced by everyone, easily by everyone, right? So yeah, so anything else that we want to add? So the video editor.
Yes, so as a video editor of this group, I will conclude all of your ideas. So for the first part, like what Sarita has already suggested, you were mentioning, you were suggesting to make an interview, right?
Yeah.
So have you decided the question?
We'll decide maybe after this.
Yeah, can, but
Because we have few question, right?
Yeah, yes, I have few questions up on my mind lah, but then that is just an idea. Maybe you could try to ask their awareness, whether they are familiar with fast fashion, whether they support fast fashion, and if they do, maybe you can ask how many do they buy in each month. Then from there you can know about.
maybe we can just list down all the questions that each of us have,
Yes,
and then we see which one is easier for them to answer. Because our video is going to be like 3 minutes, so we need to see which one is better, then we choose on it.
Okay, so after the interview session part, we can skip. After the interviewing session part, we will go to the numbers and data from Lina's suggestion, and then you were suggesting to put numbers such as the facts about what's happening what's happening globally, right? And also some kind of phrase, is it? It was fast fashion kills the environment. Yeah, that's our issue actually. And then we will proceed to the effects. We will proceed to the effects that we have already discussed. But then to decide the actual effect for our awareness video, we will decide it later. Yeah, and then for the final one is the solution part. And then Nadia would suggest we will go for the consumer friendly solution lah. As in our audience will be only like only students, and also most of them will only be those who live can be Shopaholic, but then the audience will be, most of them are in the middle class like us. Yeah. I think that's good enough to complete the whole video in 3 minutes length. Anything else to add?
Yeah,
For the video. I think because it's 3 minutes only, so I think that's enough.
because we can't even put too much, so that they won't even have time to like understand it, right? So I think that is fine for now. On the details that we're going to choose it, like we can do it later on, like we can first list out, like we can do more research on which one is better, which one is the best. So because the point that we are going to say it out is it must be really effective. So that is what I want all of us to focus on. So for me, I feel like the video is okay, like what you say is okay, just fine. So what is your opinion?
I think the video is okay, but I really want, if someone sees the video, it gives them effect. So they maybe they doesn't know about, actually H&M, they want to maintain sustainability, but they actually are not. So maybe by doing this video, they really know actually what they know what they want to do.
Maybe also the audience also will know, like, okay, maybe even if we cannot change the thought of the H&M, maybe we can change the thought of the customers, right? Consumers, right? So like, okay, they already know, okay, so even they are giving the voucher to us, and she said that's not right. Like we can use it wisely. We use it only when we use, not because we have a voucher. So yeah.
Anything else? By the way, for the conclusion part, I forgot to include how are we going, the way we are going to portray the video, right? So for the interviewing part, of course, you will interview people, and then for the numbers and data, we will just take the numbers and words on the screen. As far as the effects, how are we going to do that is by making an animation video, right? That was another suggestion. And then for the solution part, is also by doing an animation video. So basically, how are we going to portray the video is by doing an animation video, a short animation in which we will combine it to make our awareness video, right? That's it.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else to say before I'm gonna assign some tasks for you?
Actually,
After the audience look at our video, I hope that they will buy less, like quality clothes. The most important things is that know how to recycle or donated their unwanted clothes and should not throw away like that.
I believe that many fast fashion consumers did not really care about sustainability in fashion, and sometimes they did not even know about this concept. So I hope that with this video, it will give them some awareness about fast fashion. And also as consumers, we have so much power to change the world by just being careful in what we buy. Yeah.
So mostly our videos, so the video editor is going to make sure that what our hopes that we mentioned now, okay, the video is going to bring us to that, to reach whatever we hope. Okay, the video editor need to be concerned on that, and I want creative director is Ziwe, right? So I want you to help her to make sure how more interesting and more creative that you can edit the video, and like you should be giving her some ideas on that. And also just make sure about the language and stuff, because for the language editor also. And also for Linda, I want you to do more research on the statistical data, since you said you need to include that, right? So I want you to do more on that. And also for you, I want you to, since you already jot down everything that happened today, I want you to summarize it, and also you will be helping them both to do the content writing. Okay. So yeah. But then I will be helping all of you guys also in everything. Okay. So that's all for today. We are ending our discussion today.
Thank you.